Jim, longtime fan, loved all the stuff that you worked on. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you got your career started in voice acting.
Well, actually, I started out as a mime and failed miserably. And that's what got me here, basically. You know, I was kidding in the back of the class, you know, doing dolphin and squirrel noises and, you know, things like that. And I was always in bands. I was always, you know, I started as a singer. I joked that I was a professional musician since the age of 13 because somebody gave me $10 and, well, $40 total for me and 3 of my buddies to go and play the same 9 songs over and over again at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Social Center. So I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So it was music or acting or something like that for me, you know. And yeah, I made my first demo tape in late 1984 and kind of shopped it around and sent it to some folks at Left Coast TV. And they said, well, we're not doing anything right now. Or actually, it was at Dawn Bluth. They said, we're not doing anything right now, but we'll hold on to your tape. And they actually did. And I got a call. This guy said, well, heard your tape. You don't stink. So want to come audition? So I went and auditioned. It was Dumbo Circus in '84. Disney was starting up the channel, which apparently has done well for them. There's a few of them now. And that was my first gig. And now, you know, 30 years later, I get to hang with you guys. So there you have it. Yeah.
What is it about acting that resonated with you to the point where you wanted to make a career out of it?
Oh, I didn't even know any other way to be. I was just, like I say, an annoying kid, and you know, and I was always, you know, when I was a kid, you're 12 years old, and I'd rather be the crazy hermit or the wizard or the monster that lives in a cave instead of you know, like the 12-year-old little prince or whatever. And I think doing all those crazy, like community theaters and things like that when I was a kid probably prepared me for this career, and it's great. You know, I love it. There's no makeup, and you only occasionally have to stand in front of microphones or cameras. Some so used to microphones, I don't even know a camera. But I don't know. It just always appealed to me. You know, getting ready to you can get your yah-yahs out and your frustrations out if you're playing a bad guy, then you play the bad guy, get that out of you, then go home and be okay. You know? So it's not bad. Yes, sir.
So, like the late Robin Williams, your career has spanned generations of technology and different art styles and different type of animation, and you've done so much. But how would you say, from an inside perspective, how's the world of voice acting changed from when you first started to doing stuff like Wreck-It Ralph now?
Well, you know, I liked it back then. We often movies are all this. They really haven't changed much because you know, you're kind of flying solo whenever you're doing a recording for a movie, even singing. I mean, I've sung harmony with people who weren't there, you know. So that part hasn't changed much. It's always you're flying solo. There's never any other actor around you. But with cartoons, regular, like for TV, I used to enjoy, back in the day, they'd all have everybody there, you know, the whole crew, the whole cast, and I liked that. That was the biggest change. Where I think it seems like everybody's schedule nowadays. Plus, they're using a lot of on-camera people, a lot of people from movies and this and that, and you know, those guys. I don't know what their problem is, but but you know, I miss the interaction. Although Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars, we always do. Excuse me, the whole cast will be there. And that's better because somebody's saying a line, you're feeding off that, you're feeding off their energy, they're feeding off yours, and I ad-lib like crazy. I've got a Robin Williams story about that. I messed him up doing Aladdin King of Thieves. My guy was messing up because he ad-libs and I ad-lib and they ad-lib, and he said, well, Mr. Cummings, little Mr. Funny Voice Man, I will not be upstaged by a tertiary character. And they kept that in the movie. They kept the tertiary character in the movie. He leans over in the courtroom and Genie snaps my guy Razul up like a window shade. So you know, it's a lot of fun even when somebody's not there. So I got dissed by Robin Williams, which makes me feel really good. You know, so I forget the question, but how was that for an answer?
That was a pretty good. Thank you.
See? Yes, sir.
When you first started out, or even before, was there any person or people in particular that supported you or gave you advice that really helped you out?
Oh, geez.
before?
I don't know. I mean, you know, my parents were encouraging me, you know, but not really anybody in the business. I didn't know anybody in the business. I didn't. I would have. It would have been great if Mel Blanc had said, "Hey, son, have a seat," you know, or something. But although the closest I ever came to that was he heard my audition, my demo tape, the one that I made, the very first one, and a buddy of mine had he was a manager, and he was a booking agent for like poodle acts and clowns for kids parties, and the guy who does balloon animals, and he's like kind of not the biggest management thing in the world, but he had apparently a office in the same building as Mel Blanc, and he kind of knew him, and he said, hey Mel, what are you doing? Come in and listen to this kid's tape, you know, and so this is as close as I got to getting a mentorship from him, I guess. He sat down and he closed his eyes and he looked up at the ceiling and he listened. He hit play on the tape. It was a cassette back in the day. And he closed his eyes and he started smiling. And it was like 2 minutes long. And he opened his eyes at the end of it and he goes, I gotta go. Tell the kid he's got it. Boom. Mel Blanc said I have it? What is it? You know, so apparently I had it. I still have it somewhere. I don't have it on me. But I had it. What are you gonna do? Yes.
So other than having other than raw vocal talents, what would you say is the most important skill for succeeding in the industry? Is it perseverance, networking?
Yeah, it's got to be perseverance. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I get networking's good, I guess, but depends on the network. But no, honestly, I like for me, I always say, you know, if you do a perfect impression of some famous person, that's good. That could be, you know, that'll be your impression there. And if you do a terrible impression of some famous person, nobody has any idea who it is, that's a new character. Now, if you do a perfect impression of somebody that you know that nobody else in the whole world knows, that's a new character. So just be a sponge. You know, like, God rest her soul, my Aunt Grace has shown up in many cartoons, and she was never a woman. It was always the guy that was sort of, you know, like had a couple hits to the head, you know, and so, God bless you, Aunt Grace. So if you do like really good impressions of your relatives, they, you know, free reign, right? Like my Uncle Sam, another one. He I swear to God, he actually sounded like, well, I'm gonna tell you, you know, Jimmy, you're a good kid, but all them little crazy men. What'd you say? I'm so sorry, Uncle Sam. I can't tell what the hell you said. He was this crazy Italian guy, and he's just sounded like a dragon to me. So he's been dragons. He's been a couple dragons, ogre or two. Ogre, Uncle Sam, the ogre. And I always call up my cousin, hey man, you gotta check out every movie of the week. Yeah, your dad's in it. Yeah, he's a dragon. Oh no, I'm sorry, ogre, sorry. Yeah, okay. And then my cousins love it. Because they can hear their dad, you know, and that's just how he sounded. So that's one way to do it. Yes.
So, what out of all the characters you've done, what was the hardest to do?
The hardest? Well, geez, I technically, I guess it would have been that horrible show. Please, if you saw this movie, don't raise your hand. The Mangler, Stephen King's movie. Good. No, it's they misspelled my name. Praise the Lord. And it was the worst movie ever made. It was like Christine, only it was The Mangler, and it was a industrial strength. I swear to God, industrial strength, like ironing board or press for something that you could use to flatten out tents or something. It was like, this isn't scary. You would eat people. This stupid ironing board thingy would eat people, and it was called The Mangler. And it was kind of a takeoff on Christine. I remember there was a Christine book and a movie where the car was possessed, and that made sense because the car could chase you around and kill you. Well, just unplug the ironing thing and walk away. That's what I would have done. But I was the Mangler, and Tobe Hooper, Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy, he was doing it, and somehow or another I got picked, and all I could tell you is that when my agent told me that I was what am I doing? It's the Mangler, and one of the voices was, that was in there, and then another one was, kind of Uncle Sam. And then another one was I forget. And then they played them all backwards and blended them all together, and that was a real pain in the ass. Waiting around, you can't say ass on TV. Oh, too late.
It's the internet.
But it's okay. I know. But you know, that was definitely the funkiest and the hardest on my pipes. And when we were doing Tasmania, I would always say, well, can we do it on Friday afternoon so I can recover for the weekend? Because Taz is. Thank you. Shakespeare. Yes, that's right. So yeah, those guys were the hardest. Whatever that was.
So
yes.
You have done an extreme range of characters, with my personal favorite being Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the bullets that got shot.
That was my first thing.
Yeah. So with doing so many characters, do you have any that's a particular favorite of yours that you really enjoy bringing to life?
Jeez, you know, I got a bunch of them. You know, Pooh and Tigger, they're kind of in their own category. They're in that evergreen sort of, hallelujah, you know, kind of a thing there. So they're in there. But Darkwing Duck's way up there, and he's got great T-shirts. In case you didn't notice, thank you. I know what you're thinking. Where can I get one? I don't know. But so there's that, and I've always been really partial. One of my all-time favorites is Ray from Princess and the Frog, because it's got everything. It's got New Orleans. It even has food. So you know, he was one of my originals, and I like Hondo Ohnaka. Any Star Wars fans here? Anybody know? You've probably heard of Star Wars somewhere. But he's one of my favorites. So yeah, I think that was about 5 of them. That's good.
Thank you.
I could be here all night. I know a lot of voices.
This is number 5.
And number 1 and 2.
Kids Next Door Battle Stations!
All right.
All right.